Well, hello and welcome back to the third and final Divi tutorial on how to get started with the content project, a blog article project. And this is Greg Elwell, and let's get into it. So what we're looking at right now is the B2B Inbound editorial calendar, and I have one item in here that was created from the parking lot and then flushed out with some additional details I'm going to show you in just a moment. And it is the article on how to set up an editorial calendar with workflows in DivvyHQ. And you can see that I have it in two places. It's on the 11th, it's on the 12th. The 11th is when it was created and to be in production by that date. And the 12th is my actual publication date. So we could click on either one of these. I'm just going to go ahead and click on the 12th. And that is going to take us right into the content details screen. And here we are. So you can see at the top we have our title, how to set up an editorial calendar with workflows in DivvyHQ. And then here's the main content screen. And now while you were away, what I did is I put in my article specific instruction template. And that is a number of different items. It is number one, what is the central idea, theme, or premise? Number two, what are we going to use for an introduction or a lead-in to this particular article? Number three, what are the main talking points for the body of the post? Number four is reference links, media, or files that we're going to review or use in the post. And then finally a conclusion and a call to action. Now I use this outline for all of my projects, all of my blog article writing projects, as well as for myself as well as for clients. And so I give them this outline. I said this is the kind of information that we need from you basically in order to provide the information that the writer will need to write the article based on your expectations and what you had in mind. Alright, so I also have this down below here as an attachment, so let me go ahead and open that up for you, and you can see what the details of that is. So I'm just going to open that up. Here we go. Okay, it's loading. All right, and there it is. It's really big. So let me bring this down to size a bit. So guidelines for providing article specific instructions. And I'm not going to read through this, but I just want to point out that this gives a little bit more detail about what we're looking for. You know, what is the central idea, theme, or premise? What does that mean? What kind of things are we looking at? And just some things that kind of get you thinking, the client thinking about the kind of information to provide and why it's important and things like that. And you know, down here reference links and things like that for the writer to review. We kind of gauge that the writer can maybe spend 30 to 45 minutes reviewing, researching the topic and the information that you provide, and then they're going to go and do their writing. So what we're trying to say here basically is, you know, don't overwhelm them with information. I've had some clients that want to give them, you know, hours and hours worth of webinars to review, and that's just simply not going to happen unless, you know, we pay the writer a terrific amount of money to do that. So time is money. And so here we have now the information that I've flushed out based upon that outline and those guidelines. The central idea or theme is going to be a companion piece to the podcast that I did with Brody on how to get started and set up a blog project from beginning to end using DivvyHQ. Introduction or lead-in, I'm just going to say, you know, here's what I'm going to show you. Here's how I'm going to do it. Here's what you're going to get out of it. Main talking points. So there's three things. Getting your idea into Divi. And there's two methods for that. I showed you that in the first video. And then number two is creating your outline, adding writer details and background information. So that's what I'm doing right now. This is actually that piece of it. So we've created the outline and we've added those writer details as to what this post is going to all be about. And then the third piece of it will be moving from the parking lot stage, which is where we're at right now. We're in the parking lot status, into production and some of the workflow options for that. So I'm actually going to deal with that in this video as well. So reference links, media or files to review or to include. So we're going to be using my DivvyHQ account, which is this right here that you're seeing right now. We'll embed this tutorial videos for each main talking point. We'll plan to use some screenshots of images within the Divi of the Divi features, and I'll have a reference link there to the YouTube videos that Divi has provided for training, tips and techniques and things like that. And then I'm going to reference the podcast that I did with Divi co-founder Brody Dorland, because that goes into a lot of detail about how Divi can be used, features, and kind of the backstory of Divi and who uses it and how they're getting value out of it and all those types of things. So that's something that can add value to this. And then finally, the conclusion and call to action. I will ask for comments and questions. And then I'm also going to offer a free download of the article specific instruction guidelines that I just showed you a moment ago, because that can be helpful in terms of your planning for your content projects, and specifically a blog. All right, so now over on the right hand side, we've got the details screen, and we also have an activity tab. So we're just going to focus right now on the details, and so we've got this selected as the calendar. The B2B Inbound is the calendar, is the blog that it's going on. The content type is a blog post. It's in the parking lot phase, and it's I'm the content owner, and I'm listed here as I'm also assigned this to myself. So now when I get ready to go ahead and put this into production, what I'm going to do is, and this is part of my workflow, is I'm going to select Gregory J. Elwell, as I told you before, my other self. He's going to be my sort of my pretend writer, my alter ego, I guess, and he's actually going to produce this, which is me, but you get the idea. I'm going to show you how this works in just a second. Down here, I may or may not have shown you this before. We have how-to information as far as the topic or category this is going to be, the publish date, production deadline, and I've got my audience here, my editorial calendar is a keyword, and so on and so forth. So all I really need to do right now at this point is go ahead and save this. So I'm going to save this, and now I can do a couple things. I can send this information to Gregory J. Elwell, or I can just I've actually probably just have done that by choosing to save it, but let me just show you this method. Send to, and let me select my writer, and I'm just going to give a quick message that says this is ready to go, and I'm going to send it. And now you see I can change this from the parking lot status to in production, which is exactly what I want to do. Change status. Alright, so there we go. Now we've changed the status of this. Now let me just flip over to my email. Alright, so here is the email that Gregory J. Elwell received. New assignment from DivvyHQ. Hello there. Greg has assigned the following content items to you, and here's a link. It just needs to click on that link and go right into the content detail screen, the content editor, and actually begin to work. It also provides that information that I showed you in the content screen right here in the body of the email. So at this point, my writer's been notified, and we know it's in production now, and we can go ahead and get started on the actual creation of the content. Alright, so now we're looking at it from the standpoint that the writer's looking at the information, the notes that have been provided, all the instructions here, and sees that it's supposed to be in production, so it's time to get to work. So there's a couple of ways to do this as far as actually creating the content now. So we're in that content creation stage. The writer can actually, go to a Word doc or whatever they may be comfortable using, and create the article based upon the instructions in the outline here, or they could create it right here and just add it to this content editor. It has all these different icons and tools, if you will, for adding links, for adding images, and if you are pasting in from a outside source like a Word doc, you can use this paste from Word. It'll clean up all that bloated code that sometimes gets in the way of things and make things look a little funky. They can also go in here and click on source, and if they know HTML, like they could put in, you know, H2s for the subheadings and things like that. So it has, you know, a fair amount of features here to allow you to do formatting of the content right within the editor here. And then once so let's say, you know, things get rolling here, and the writer may have a question. Well, it can go to the activity tab and add a note, you know, question about, I can type ABC, add that note. And so what's going to happen now is that anybody that's in the has been assigned as is a team member to this particular project will get an email notification with a link to go in and to look at that note, and then can respond, and you can kind of keep a running conversation, if you will, in the activity tab right there. All right, so writer's done its work. Let's say you know, they've put the article, created the article, put it in the content editor here, or perhaps what they've done is they've come down to the bottom here and they have get to the bottom here and they've added that in as an attached file. And so as the editor, I could go then and review that, click and review that file, make any changes, save it, and it will keep track of the versioning for you. So that's kind of a built-in feature of the file attachments. So that's kind of a nice thing. So let's say now that the writer has completed their work, and what they're going to do is they're going to come over here and they're going to change it to in review. And as they hit save, so now the content owner, myself, Greg Elwell, is going to be notified via email that it's ready for review, and can then go in, click that link, go in and see what the writer's done. I might then go in and you know, request a revision, and if I request a revision, probably what I'll do is I'll go into the activity tab here and tell the writer exactly what the revision should be, or I could just make it right in here and highlight it somehow. Ultimately, we're going to have the content owner approve it, and so then once it's approved and this is the final work, then everybody gets notified and it's ready to be published. And then once you are ready to publish on your publish date, obviously you'd want to set the status to published, and away you go. So that concludes this tutorial on how to use the content details and the workflows and other members and the notifications, the file attachments and all that. There's a lot of features here, and so all I have to say right now is happy divvying.